Hello, Elly here from Thankful Flow Yoga. Thank you for joining me for this soft and slow Vinyasa flow. Although we're going to be moving a little bit, there will still be strong elements of the practice as well, of course, and sometimes actually moving slower in your practice can feel a lot stronger, especially if it's not what you're used to. So we are going to be flowing through a sequence with different options, so whatever level you're at or however your body's feeling today, taking the options that work for you. And we will come to a standing position on our mat today to get started. So we're going to start by grounding into the practice. So I want you to close down the eyes or take a steady gaze out in front. And take a deep breath in through the nose. Notice how the air feels as you draw it into the body. Does it feel cool or warm? Where can you feel the breath traveling to? Seeing what you can observe. Listening to your own breath, listening to your body, noticing how the ground feels beneath your feet. Opening the eyes back up now. And we'll step the left foot behind the right foot at an angle. You can either stay up on the back toes or you can bring that heel down depending on what feels right for you. And we'll inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. The right hand's going to take the left wrist, lift up and out from the waist. Exhale, stretching over to the right. So finding this lovely deep stretch through the left side body here. Breathing into this space. And releasing, stepping it back, coming onto the other side. So right leg steps out at an angle behind. Inhale, reach the hands up to the sky. Left hand takes the right wrist. Make space first. Lift up and out from the waist. Exhale, we take our stretch over to the left side. Stretching into the right side of the body. Release, come back to standing. Now we'll inhale, reach both arms up to the ceiling, interlace the fingers and bring the hands to the back of the head, and elbows are opening out to the side, so opening across the chest. Inhaling here, and then on your exhale, drop your chin down towards the chest, draw your elbows in, draw your belly button in towards the spine. Inhale, opening the arms out to the side, opening across the chest. Exhale, rounding. So like in cat and cow movement here. Starting to mobilize the spine. Last one. Inhale, opening the elbows out, opening across the chest, the heart center. And then exhale, rounding, dropping the head, drawing the elbows in. Drawing the belly in as well. Inhale, come back up to center, release the arms, take a couple of shoulder rolls. Step to the top of your mat, Surya Namaskar A. Inhaling, reaching the hands up to the sky. Exhale, hinge from the hips, bend your legs as much as you need to, forward fold. Inhale, lift your chest, lengthen the spine, halfway lift. Hands can come to the shins or the thighs. Crown of the head's reaching towards that wall in front. Exhale, bring the hands down to the mat. Step the feet back to plank or drop your knees straight down to modify. Pausing here for a moment. Fingers nice and spread, checking in with that inner line of energy. And then starting to come through your chaturanga. So I'm going to demonstrate the modified version today, but if you want to do your full version and come into your upward dog, you absolutely can. So I'm going to exhale, drop my knees down, keep the elbows tucked in, lower down to your belly, hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, roll your shoulders back, peel the chest away, press the tops of the feet to the mat, activate the lower body. Exhale, release your chest back down. Inhale, start to press the hands into the mat. Either come through tabletop position or exhale, lift the hips straight to the sky for downward facing dog. Breathing here. You can always take a child's pose here if you need to. So you can keep a little bend in the legs in your downward facing dog. The most important thing is the length in the spine here. And from here we're going to inhale and sweep your right foot through between hands. So finding a lunge. Now if this is feeling quite strong for you, a nice way to support yourself here is to grab your blocks, have the blocks framing your front foot, and you're going to have your hands on the blocks. That's going to give you more space, okay? We're not going to be here for long. So just seeing if you can gently press into that back left heel and take a little shift forward and back here, just opening into that left hip flexor and stretching into that right hip as well. Well done, then drop your back knee down, so left knee's dropping down. Again, you can have your hands on your blocks, or you're going to inhale and sweep the fingertips up to the sky, finding your low lunge. So this right knee is stacked above the right ankle, so just checking in that you've got that alignment there. If your knee's coming over, then bringing your front foot forward slightly. Breathing here on your inhales, lifting up and out from the pelvis. And then we're going to bring the hands down either to blocks or to the mat, or you can do it without the hands if you want to add a little more challenge in. And you're shifting that weight back into your left leg. So the weight's into that left leg and we're lengthening through the right leg. But this right leg could have a bend, keep a bend in that leg if you need to. You can still have the hands on blocks, remember too. So finding our half split position. This is a really, really lovely stretch for the back of the legs. Reconnecting with your breath here. Taking a little fold over that right leg. If that's accessible for you, no worries if it's not. And then we're going to walk the hands forward, so bring your weight back into that front right leg. Again, your hands can still be on blocks here. Tuck the back toes under and power up through your back leg. And see if you can inhale, reach the hands up to the sky, finding a high lunge. No worries if you've come and met us in your high lunge, that's okay. If that transition there didn't work for you, taking what you need from this practice, I'm guiding you, but always listening to your body. So from here, hands are going to come to heart center. We're going to step that left foot in slightly and then shifting the weight into our right leg, finding our warrior three. So your warrior three could be much higher up. You could be working here. You could be bringing your hands to blocks. What we're working towards is this long line through the body, keeping the hips nice and square. Imagine that you're pressing your left heel back into something behind. Just keep breathing. And then seeing if you can take a bend into this right leg, take a big step back, open out to warrior two. So warrior two, we've got our right leg bent, left leg lengthened, side of the left foot's roughly in line with the side of the mat, sending your gaze over your right fingertips, relaxing your shoulders, sinking into this right leg, breathing here. And gently starting to lengthen your right leg now. So coming into our Trikonasana. So inhale, reach forwards with the right fingertips. Forwards, forwards, forwards. And then tipping from the waist, we start to open into our triangle position. So left fingertips could be reaching up to the sky. And this right hand could be coming to the inside of the right thigh, the calf, maybe the foot. If it feels too much, then bring the hands to the hips and just work with keeping that left shoulder nice and open. Imagine that you're looking up to the ceiling and working higher up if you need to. Inhale, press the feet down and away into the mat. Float back to your warrior two. And then we're going to windmill the arms around to frame that front foot. Step it back to plank and work through a chaturanga. So you're either going to drop the knees down and inhale into a cobra, or you can come through inhaling into your upward facing dog. And on the exhale, we'll all meet back in our downward facing dog. Lifting the hips to the sky. Imagine there's a string coming from your hips to the ceiling. You can take a child's pose or resting pose at any time that you need to. Inhale, this time we sweep the left foot through between the hands. Pausing here first. Again, you can bring your hands straight to blocks here if you need to. And see if you can take a gentle shift back and forth. Feeling into that right hip flexor. Maybe the left hip too. Well done. Then drop that right knee down to the mat, either keeping the hands on blocks or inhale, sweep the fingertips up to the sky, lift up and out from the waist. And we're still using our core here, so really lifting up from the pelvis, growing the spine tall. Checking your alignment with your front leg, so we want the knee stacked above the ankle. And then we're going to gently start to shift the weight back into that right leg. So you're going to take the hands to blocks, to the mat, or if you're working with being a little bit more intense today, then you can, or you want to work with some balance, you can take the hands away and come into your half split this way without using the hands. So bringing the weight into the right leg and then lengthening through that left leg, flexing the left foot. But just remember, the left leg does not have to be straight. It's not about the leg being straight or being bent. It's about finding a place in the pose, in the stretch in your body that feels right to you. So always coming back to sending your gaze inwards. Trying not to listen to the ego and what the ego thinks we should do or should be doing. Taking a fold over that front leg if that feels good too. Don't force it if it doesn't. And slowly walking the hands back forwards, bringing the weight back into the left leg. Tuck the back toes under, power up through the back right leg. Again, you can still have your hands on blocks here for this. And see if you can inhale, reach the hands up to the sky, finding your high lunge. If not, just meeting here. Lifting the ribs away from the hips, finding that length. Now floating the hands through to heart center, step the back foot in. Start to slowly bring your weight into the left foot. And again, a nice way to support yourself in Warrior 3 is to have your blocks. So you could have your hands on your blocks and you could be really working on this line through the body, but with that support here. Or you can reduce the range of movement and you could stay higher up, finding a drishti. So see what works for you, keeping the hips square, keep the back leg active, breathing. So Warrior 3 left side. And then from here, bending through this left leg, take a big step back, find your Warrior 2 on the left side. Sending your gaze over the left fingertips, relaxing the shoulders, sinking down into that left leg. Breathing here. Then start to lengthen through your left leg. Inhale, reach forwards with the left fingertips. So forwards, 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 tipping from the waist, opening out into your Trikonasana. Again, this left hand could be coming to a block. You could be working higher up. You always have the option to bring your hands to the hips here. Most important thing is really keep this space across the chest. So if you're finding you're coming down lower but you're rounding, it's better to stay higher up and have your space. Keep pressing the feet down and away. Imagine you're shooting energy through these right fingertips, so really lifting. Inhale, slowly come back up to find your Warrior 2. And then we'll float the hands around to frame that front foot. Step it back to plank. And flowing through our final Vinyasa. So inhaling through into an upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Lifting the hips to the sky. And from here, just coming up on your toes in your downward facing dog, so lifting your heels away from the mat. I want you to see if you can start to walk your feet in towards the hands. So see how close you can walk the feet in without bending the legs. And then when you need to, bend through those legs and bring the hips down to the mat. Don't worry if you needed to come down in a different way to how I just did. And we're going to come down to a lying position now. So making sure that you've got your block to hand here. And we're bringing the legs to the mat roughly hip width apart and arms to the side of the body. Draw your pelvis up and in towards the body. Notice the belly drawing in, the lower back connecting closer to the mat. And from here, start to lift the hips away from the mat. Lifting them up to the ceiling. Keep that head and neck nice and straight. Option to interlace the fingers and roll your shoulders, so shoulder blades coming in towards each other. Only if that feels good. Don't force anything here. Glutes switched on, legs switched on. And then seeing if you can come up on your toes here. Maybe you can take one leg away. Bring it back down. Take the other leg away. Bring it back down. No worries. If that option wasn't for you, bring your heels back down to the mat. And then release your hands if you had them in the interlace. And I want you to grab your block. And we're going to bring the block under the sacrum. So you can either have it on the lower setting or pop it on the higher setting, depending on what feels right for you. So making this into a supported bridge. You can use a book here instead if you don't have a block, or you're welcome to get creative. So you could stack some cushions up to elevate the hips. You could stack other things underneath the hips to lift them up here. Closing your eyes or taking a steady gaze up to the ceiling. Noticing if your belly rises and falls with your breath. And just letting go as much as you can here. Let come what come, let go what goes, see what remains. And now switching on your legs and your glutes first, and then slowly removing the block. And really gently and slowly drawing the spine, bringing the hips down last towards the mat. Take a gentle window wipe with the knees from side to side. And then coming back to stillness. I'm going to hook this right leg over the left leg. So completely hooking it over like you've crossed your legs. So like when we're doing Gomukhasana. And then you're going to see how this feels first. If this already feels like quite a strong stretch on the hips, you're going to work here. Or you're going to start to lift that left foot away from the mat, drawing the knees in towards the chest in this position. And your hands are coming to your shins or the ankles, and you're drawing the legs in towards the body. So you should be feeling hopefully a stretch into this right hip space, the right glute, the piriformis, maybe the IT band. Just noticing what's alive for you. So this is like a lying version of Gomukhasana. It's a really good stretch with an internal hip rotation. It's a really good anti-desk stretch. Our legs and our hips. Then releasing the legs, bring the left foot down to the mat, unhook your right leg, coming on to the other side, so left leg hooks over the right this time, so completely crossing the legs as far over as you can. You could either be working here, or you're going to start to draw the legs in, hands are coming to the shins or the ankles. Finding that stretch into the left hip space this time, Svadhisthana, our second chakra. Just connecting to our creativity, our emotions, this chakra, this energy center. Sending your breath and your awareness into the hips. And releasing the legs from the hug, so right foot comes back down to the mat, unhook that left leg, and then rolling over to one side, from the side, peeling your body up to a seated position on the mat. But as always, if you have longer, then I really recommend taking a longer Shavasana or meditation here. If you are ready to close off your practice, we'll finish with a releasing breath. So we'll inhale through the nose, I'll count to 3, and then you can exhale out through your mouth, and this can be like a big sigh, just letting everything go. So inhale through the nose for 1, 2, 3, exhale, release. Breathe out. Thank you so much for joining me for this flow. Please comment, let me know how you're getting on, and do let me know if you have any requests for future practices that you want to see. And please subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying these flows. I have lots more coming, lots of exciting plans for more flows to come on YouTube. I also have an online, on-demand library of yoga flows that are in more detail about the chakras, longer and shorter practices, etc. on there, so do check out what I offer below, and I can't wait to see you again for another practice very soon. Take care, bye bye.